immediately take possession and then immediately lose it. Brian Robson hitting a long ball out of play, halfway inside the Middlesbrough half, far side of play. Throw in taken by Curtis Fleming, flicked on by Paul Wilkinson, the general direction of Bernie Slurban. He isn't going to get there. Gary Pallister hits it long. Nicky Mohan heads it up towards halfway line. Bit of head tennis out there, nobody putting the foot on the ball at the moment. United though building on the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Good challenge from Nicky Mohan. The ball bouncing loose halfway inside Middlesbrough's half. Picked up by Jimmy Phillips. Neat little chip ball forward. That's straight to Paul Parker. Chip ball down the line. Paul Parker. Signal from Alan Kernigan to leave it. Wise choice. Skids off the surface. Out of play. And a goal kick to Middlesbrough. 43 seconds have gone on the watch. Manchester United 0. Middlesbrough 0. What an atmosphere we have at Old Trafford here this evening. A 9,000 strong Middlesbrough support getting into full voice right from the kick-off. They're behind Stephen Pears as he takes this goal kick right-footed and long, some 15 yards inside the Manchester United half. Won by Gary Pallister, but picked up by Jamie Pollock on the loose. John Hendry having his back pushed all over the place by Dennis Irwin. Free kick to Middlesbrough. 15 yards in from the far side touchline. 10 yards inside the Manchester United half. Middlesbrough captain Alan Kernigan will take this with everybody save Stephen Pears inside the Manchester United half. That's a low, intelligent free kick. Twisting and turning, headed for Wilkinson, only just over the bar. And Middlesbrough threatening first and threatening quickly. A quick free kick, an intelligent free kick from Alan Kernigan. Good turn from John Hendry. Flip. And that only just cleared the top of Peter Schmeichel's crossbar. Goal kick to Manchester United with under 2 minutes gone, and Middlesbrough the first to press. Peter Schmeichel with a right-footed goal kick halfway down the Middlesbrough half. It's flicked on by Brian McClare, picked up by Jamie Pollock. 10 yards in from the far side touchline, back to Curtis Fleming. Somewhat slices a kick forward, easily picked up by Dennis Irwin. Right foot in long and forward over the head of Ryan Giggs. Running onto it was Neil Webb, but that's thumped clear by Jimmy Phillips up towards halfway line. Good layoff from Paul Wilkinson. Even better one from Stuart Ripley, but he was caught late from behind by Steve Bruce. It's a bad challenge from Steve Bruce, but also have a free kick. Steve Bruce has a ticking off, and Ripley has a little bit of a sore ankle, but he's okay. Picked himself up and he takes his position away on Middlesbrough's left. Middlesbrough have a free kick inside centre circle, around about 10 yards or so, if that, inside the Manchester United half. Alan Kernigan long right down the middle, hit it clear, unchallenged by Gary Pallister, picked up by Jimmy Pollock. Header inside, looking for Paul Wilkinson, back to Pollock again. Good work from Jimmy Pollock. He goes out wide to Jimmy Phillips. Phillips out wide to Stuart Ripley, level with the edge of Manchester United's penalty area. 3 yards in from the inside touchline, gets a crossover, cannons off the back of Paul Parker. A desperate chase for Alan Kernigan. Will he beat Ryan Giggs to it? No, he can't. But Jimmy Phillips is a supplementary defender. He gets that ball out of play on the halfway line. Manchester United take the throw from 10 yards inside Middlesbrough's half. Brian McClare pinching a few yards. McClare is back in receipt of the ball. Off on the overlap goes Ryan Giggs. A lightning burst of pace, but a timely challenge from Alan Kernigan. The ball out of play, throw into Manchester United. 5 yards up from the corner flag, deep inside Middlesbrough's half. Paul Parker was going to try to cross to take it. A shout from behind from Neil Webb to leave it. He adheres to that, and Webb will take the throw. Giggs is some 10 yards away, and he's the nearest player, but he is in receipt of the ball now, and it skids off Ryan Giggs' foot. Out of play, and Stephen Pears will take a Middlesbrough goal kick.
Yes, a bit of poor play there by Lee Sharp, in fact, just close to the touchline, allowing the ball just to drag out. But Middlesbrough could have had a crucial early strike. The header from Paul Wilkinson, the confidence of the man, 19 goals so far this season. He could quite easily have had his 20th there. The header that flashed over the top of the bar, and if nothing else, that would have given a lot of confidence to the Middlesbrough players out there on the field. A good, positive and confident start from the Boro.
4 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. The ball is up above the centre circle, headed on by Brian Robson, looking for the forward run of Ryan Giggs. That ball is out of play. Header was too firm, and Curtis Fleming takes a throw up towards halfway line, flicked on by Paul Wilkinson. Jamie Pollock in the thick of the action already tonight, sprays a 30-yard ball which skids off the surface behind Jimmy Phillips. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he can. He's on by his own corner flag, mind you, and he keeps that in play. He's in a little bit of a tight squeeze, but right-footed he clears it up towards Robbie Mustoe. His first time touch isn't good. Neil Webb dispossesses on the edge of the area. A late challenge on Paul Ince will bring a free kick for Manchester United. The free kick will be taken around about 10-15 yards in from the near side touchline. Jimmy Phillips following through late on Paul Ince as Manchester United tried to make a 1-2. United will have a free kick 15 yards into the near side touchline, quickly taken by Neil Webb. Stephen Pears has to come for it, does so, punches it, goes to the edge of the area. That's only just wide from Dennis Irwin on the volley. And Stephen Pears, questioning his defence, says that Dennis Irwin should have been closed down. But that ball has gone out of play, just a couple of inches wide, and a mighty powerful strike from Dennis Irwin. And United just beginning to get their act together a little bit. 5 minutes, a shade overgone in the first half here at Old Trafford. Rumbelows League Cup semi-final, second leg. Let's not forget that other game in our area tonight. No change in that scoreline. West Bromwich Albion 0, Hartlepool United 1. Here at Old Trafford, Middlesbrough 0, Manchester United 0. Long goal kick headed up towards halfway line by Gary Pallister. United fans appeal for handball from Jamie Pollock. Referee having none of it. Dennis Irwin picks up the pieces and gives a touch towards Peter Schmeichel. The first touch Schmeichel's had since he retrieved the ball from the crowd after that flashing header from Paul Wilkinson, only just cleared his crossbar. A mighty long goal kick that's bounced on the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area, but it's been headed clear by Nicky Moore and up towards centre circle. The challenges are going in thick and fast. A referee, John Martin, and this time adjudicates Brian Robson, has put in a foot where it shouldn't have gone on Robbie Mustoe, and a free kick to Middlesbrough exactly halfway inside their own half centre field position, taken towards right wing by Alan Kernigan, flicked on by John Hendry. Not quite picking it up there, Bernie Slavin, but Manchester United it is who have the ball, although they did have Ryan McClare, who's having to battle for it. Instead he manages to feed John Hendry, and John Hendry was caught led by Brian Robson, signals his apologies, but I think the referee has given a throw in nevertheless. He has done 15 yards inside the Manchester United half. It's Curtis Fleming, takes it short towards Bernie Slavin, gets the return ball to Fleming. It's a poor ball, but it's good work from Curtis Fleming. Skips past one challenge, can't get past the challenge of Ryan Giggs, sliding challenge in defence. Ball is out of play, still 15 yards inside that Manchester United half. Long throw from Curtis Fleming, flicked on by Paul Wilkinson, headed clear by Gary Pallister, picked up halfway inside his own half, and a yard in from the far side touchline by Brian McClare, who turns neatly and approaches the halfway line. He picks out Ryan Giggs, a long ball down the line from Giggs, drifts out of play halfway inside Middlesbrough's half.
Yes, it's been a bit of a nervy start possibly for Middlesbrough's defence. They're trying to get in the tackles on what is a very difficult service first time. And United's first real opportunity coming from the free kick. Stephen Pears came outside the 6-yard box for a free kick that was switching away from him all of the time. He got the punch onto it, but rather sadly nobody spotted Dennis Irwin coming up, and he hit a tremendous shot that a lot of fans thought had gone in. But both sides are committed to attack. You've got to be on a surface such as that, and I think we're in for a few thrills and spills this evening.
And from the throw, which was taken by Curtis Fleming, Manchester United have a free kick. Jamie Pollock barging straight into the back of Brian Robson. And free kick to Manchester United on the edge of the centre circle, no more than a yard inside their own half. Gary Pallister takes it as United move around up front, making life a little bit difficult for Middlesbrough's defenders. One of whom, Alan Kernigan, is rather fortuitous to see a sliced clearance fall into the hands of Stephen Pears, around about 8 yards up from his goal line, a shade to the left of his left-hand post. He now takes a right-footed goal kick. The ball's temporarily lost in the brilliant floodlights at Old Trafford. Comes down to the feet of Jamie Pollock, and ball shot the crowd. Again the referee says play on. Challenged from behind by Ryan Giggs. Referee saying play on. Middlesbrough have possession. Chip ball forward. Finds John Hendry on the goal line on the edge of Manchester United's penalty area. He has Dennis Irwin with him. That ball's found its way right the way through to Steve Bruce, and he's sliced his clearance, and it's gone behind for a corner to Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough working their way behind the Manchester United full-back on that occasion. John Hendry, a neat turn left Dennis Irwin for dead. His cross, well, a panicked clearance really from Steve Bruce. It was intended for Paul Wilkinson. Truth be known, it wasn't the best of crosses if it was meant for Wilkinson, but Steve Bruce sliced it out, and it's a corner to Middlesbrough. 9 minutes gone, a corner to Middlesbrough in front of the Stretford end of the ground. Jimmy Phillips takes it, and in swinger, it's a header which would have been going in from Paul Wilkinson had he not been jumping all over the back of Gary Pallister. But when Middlesbrough move forward, United look a bit shaky.
Yes, the majority of problems for Manchester United are along their left-hand side. The free kick in the opening minutes for Middlesbrough went beyond Dennis Irwin and caused all sorts of problems. And then we had the situation just there when the cross came in. Again, Middlesbrough getting beyond Dennis Irwin for United full-back, and the difficulty, the problems there that were caused for United. So it could be that the key to this game is if Middlesbrough can get good possession to John Hendry over on the right wing.
The goal kick coming from Peter Schmeichel results this time in a free kick for Middlesbrough. Robson and Pollock having a aerial battle in midfield, and this time it's a free kick for the blue shirts of Middlesbrough. Alan Koenig will take it a yard inside the Manchester United half, right-footed and long from Alan Koenig up towards the edge of the penalty area. Good turn from John Hendry. He scored a little bit late, but the referee saying fair challenge from Ryan Giggs. Steve Bruce is nearly caught in possession as Middlesbrough press forward and don't allow Manchester United to come out of their own half. Middlesbrough are forced to backpedal a yard into their own half, and it's a long ball forward intended for Stuart Ripley, which is headed clear by Gary Pallister. Picked up by Paul Ince and spread wide to Brian McClare. Trying to fade Ryan Giggs in, but Curtis Fleming is awake to that danger. Does well and gets that ball back fully 35 yards to Middlesbrough goalkeeper Stephen Pears. 10 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. Exactly the same scoreline, of course, on aggregate. Stephen Pears up towards Jimmy Pollock, flicks on in the general direction of Paul Wilkinson. A little bit haphazard with a flick. Paul Wilkinson couldn't get there before Steve Bruce. And Bruce gets the ball back to Peter Schmeichel. Well, that's gone higher than it's gone further than for Peter Schmeichel. It's just about on halfway line. Powerful header from Jimmy Phillips, and that's gone out of play halfway inside the Manchester United half. Throw in to Manchester United, and it's going to be taken by Paul Parker. Near side of play, halfway inside the Manchester United half. Goes short to Gary Pallister, as if he wasn't quite expecting it. But he has it, halfway inside the United half, a yard in for the near side touchline. Halfway inside the Middlesbrough half is Nicky Mohan, who is called upon to effect the clearance. Doesn't do so, he's caught in possession and needs the assistance of Jimmy Phillips to get that ball back towards Stephen Pears. Does so, and Pears just calming things down a little bit. An article in the Manchester Evening News tonight calling Stephen Pears Mr. Cool of football. Well, I'm quite sure he would be quite happy to wear that mantle. Takes a long right-footed goal kick, but it's picked up by Paul Ince out towards Neil Webb. Intelligent ball from Webb. Phillips and Pollock misread it, but Brian McClare didn't, and Jamie Pollock brings down Brian McClare from behind. Brian McClare having rather one or two sharp words with referee John Martin. He didn't like that challenge from Jamie Pollock. It was from behind. It did bring him down. Free kick to Manchester United, around about 20 yards inside the Middlesbrough half. Similar distance in from the near side touchline. Every United player moving forward save Peter Schmeichel. Neil Webb takes it towards far side of play. Headed clear by Curtis Fleming. Picked up halfway inside Middlesbrough's half a yard in from the far side touchline to Dennis Irwin. Calls for the assistance of Ryan Giggs. Back towards Dennis Irwin. Right-footed cross. It's deep. It's too deep. One bounce. Out of play. Goal kick to Middlesbrough.
Yes, while there's a break in play here, there is a fairly full league programme this evening. Some score updates. First of all, Coventry 0, Nottingham Forest 1, 7:45 kick-off there. Liverpool 1, West Ham 0, 7:30 kick-off at Anfield. QPR 0, Leeds United 1. The chase for the championship obviously hotting up, 7:45 kick-off in London. And the derby game in Sheffield Wednesday 0, Sheffield United 1, 7:45. In Division 2, Derby County 1, Port Vale 1. That was the 7:30 kick-off at the baseball ground, of course. In Division 3, it's still West Bromwich Albion 0, Hartlepool 1.
And United building halfway inside Middlesbrough's half. A neat touch from Lee Sharp. Gets a good return ball from Brian McClare. It's a good challenge though in turn from Alan Kernigan. The ball's out of play, around about 10 yards up from the corner flag, deep inside the Middlesbrough half. It's a throw in to Manchester United, and Neil Webb will take it short towards Lee Sharp. Back towards Neil Webb again, picks out an unmarked Paul Parker. In turn, Paul Ince shapes up for a shot, skips past Bernie Slavin. The ball's bouncing loose on the edge of the area. A chance to go clean through for Neil Webb. Neil Webb's up on the goal line. He's overrun it though, and it's out of play. He gains generous applause from the Manchester United section, derision from the Middlesbrough public, and then offers some form of verbal gesture to the Middlesbrough public, for which he earns a ticking off from referee John Martin. But I'm not quite sure Neil Webb was too pleased with one or two offerings from one or two members of the Middlesbrough travelling support. Stephen Pears with a goal kick as the atmosphere once more begins to build here And it back to Old Trafford. It's United who pick up that loose ball. Paul Ince towards the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Jimmy Phillips in centre half position gets the ball out towards Curtis Fleming, and Middlesbrough are on the break on halfway line. Bernie Slevin holds the ball back towards Curtis Fleming. Good ball from Curtis Fleming. The first bounce isn't a kind one for Gary Pallister, and Middlesbrough pick it up with John Hendry halfway inside the United half. He loses possession, but that's because the ball is out of play. It's been put there by Brian Robson, and Middlesbrough will have a throw halfway inside the Manchester United half, far side of play. The fans holding their breath, expectation, and as I speak, Middlesbrough fans get into full voice. 14 minutes into this first half. Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. Middlesbrough with a throw halfway inside United's half. Flicked on by Paul Wilkinson, looking for Stuart Ripley. Headed clear by Gary Pallister, down towards the corner flag. Barging in the back by John Hendry. On Brian Robson, free kick to Manchester United. The boos are from the Stretford end for John Hendry throwing the ball away. I've seen one or two players booked for that in recent matches. The referee on this occasion taking a fairly lenient view of the situation. The United have a free kick taken short by Dennis Irwin. Totally unmarked is Steve Bruce halfway inside his own half, 10 yards in from the far side touchline. Long ball forward. The bounce was almost awkward for Alan Kernigan. He just got a foot on it, and with the assistance of Jimmy Phillips and Robbie Mustoe, Middlesbrough bring into play Jamie Pollock inside centre circle. Now it's the turn of Bernie Slevin. Middlesbrough beginning a good build-up. On the overlap is Jimmy Phillips. The ball down the middle for Robbie Mustoe. The offside flag has gone up. It's Paul Wilkinson who was in the offside position. Bernie Slevin rattles the post to the hoots of derision from the Stretford end. With generous applause from the 9,000 public and a promising quick break from Middlesbrough.
Yes, and a little bit of a pity there that Paul Wilkinson wasn't quite aware of what was going on around him. Normally so alert, Middlesbrough centre forward. He let the rest of the team down because they played it out of defence, which on a tricky service is always going to be difficult. But Manchester United on the break at the moment, far side.
Down by the corner flag, deep inside Middlesbrough's half. Such is the extent of Peter Schmeichel's goal kick. He really does get some distance on this. That ball is put out of play. Down by the corner flag, though, sliding challenge from Nicky Mohan, but United do have the throw. A couple of yards up by the corner flag, deep inside Middlesbrough's half. 16 minutes into the first half, a short throw, returned by Brian Robson to the man who took the throw. And that's Ryan Giggs. Back towards Dennis Irwin. Irwin looking for Giggs. Quite easily put out of play by John Hendry, although it doesn't appear as if the ball has gone. It's been retrieved by Steve Bruce. It is definitely out of play now, and it is Hendry who's put it there. Halfway inside the Middlesbrough half, far side of play. Dennis Irwin just walks up to take the throw, goes short towards Neil Webb. Back towards Dennis Irwin, halfway inside the Middlesbrough half, floats in across. Well, an attempted flick from Lee Sharp on the edge of the penalty area only resulted in the ball being cleared up towards halfway line by Nicky Mohan. United trying to build slowly from the back. Paul Parker inside centre circle. Poor ball from Parker. Picks out Robbie Mustoe. Barged off the ball by Paul Ince. And United managed to build once more. Halfway inside Middlesbrough's half. Good ball from Neil Webb. And Lee Sharp is away on the far side. He feeds Ryan Giggs. The ball is too deep from Giggs. It's out of play. Near side of play. Ryan Giggs just getting the better of Curtis Fleming. A lightning burst of pace. Took him a yard clear. But as was the case at Ayresome Park a week ago, more often than not, the final ball from Ryan Giggs is sometimes overhit. Throw to Middlesbrough. A couple of yards up from the corner flag, near side of play. Taken by Jimmy Phillips. Wasn't a particularly good throw, but Middlesbrough battling for it. Two red shirts on the one blue one. It's the blue one of Robbie Mustoe who wins it, though. And then he's put into all sorts of trouble by a poor ball from Paul Wilkinson, who then has to battle back to try and retrieve the ball, which is now on halfway line. And at the feet of Stuart Ripley, although sliding challenge from Paul Ince puts it out of play on halfway line. Throw to Middlesbrough, 17 minutes into this first half. Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. Throw from Jimmy Phillips to the feet of Bernie Slevin, back towards Jimmy Phillips again. Cutting along the halfway line to Robbie Mustoe. He skips past one challenge, can't get past Paul Ince, and it's picked up by Gary Pallister. Inside centre circle, he picks up Brian McClare. Brian Robson with a long ball through the middle. Timely challenge on Ryan Giggs by Curtis Fleming. And the ball is up inside the centre circle. Bernie Slevin battling for it, but Brian Robson winning it. Steve Bruce is brought into play. Now Brian Robson a ball forward, looking for Lee Sharp, and thumped clear by Nicky Mohan. It's going to be picked up by Paul Parker halfway inside his own half, a yard in from the near side touchline. Neil Webb comes back deep for it. He's 10 yards inside his own half. Lofts a right-footed ball, long and forward, flicked on by Lee Sharp, looking for Ryan Giggs. He's not found. And Paul Parker is twisting, he's turning. And Giggs picks it up for Manchester United to Paul Parker. Parker inside towards Brian McClare. First time touch lets him down. Stephen Pears bowls the ball up overarm to Curtis Fleming. Halfway inside his own half. He's allowed to run unchallenged. Rather walk unchallenged up towards the halfway line. A yard in from the far side touchline. A long ball forward looking for Paul Wilkinson. He wins the ball, knocks it down towards John Hendry. Hendry's first time touch, sees the ball spin away from him, and Brian Robson picks it up. That's a poor ball from Robson. Sharp had come short for it. And Kernigan picks it up. Knocked down by Paul Wilkinson. That's a poor clearance from Paul Parker, which would have suggested if Stuart Ripley had gone through with his run, he might have been in with a chance. He didn't think he was going to get the ball, stopped running, and it became a simple task for Peter Schmeichel. 19 minutes gone, still no break in the deadlock. Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. Neil Webb, long ball forward, threading it through towards Brian McClare, back towards Paul Parker. He's on halfway line, 3 yards in from the near side touchline. Neil Webb again coming short. Will use Parker, a yard inside Middlesbrough's half. He uses Paul Ince, and cleverly feeds Ryan Giggs. Back towards Ince and back towards Giggs again. He's clear, he's away, he's on the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area, skips past Phillips. Square ball to Brian Robson, out towards Brian McClare. Neat footwork, takes him clear inside the area. Pollock does well in the challenge. Corner to Manchester United. A sharp move from Manchester United, very quick indeed. Ryan Giggs instrumental, so too Brian McClare. Robson thought he'd found a way through, and Pollock has put the ball out with his corner to Manchester United. 20 minutes into the first half, in-swinging corner, flicked on and headed clear by Alan Kernigan. Balls to Neil Webb, the volley hits the back of Nicky Mohan. Thumb clear by Bernie Slim, but Middlesbrough still under pressure as United pick it up. Level with the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Neil Webb, lovely little chip ball in, flicked on by Brian McClare. Looking for the loose ball is Brian Robson, a curled shot, a yard over the top of the crossbar from Brian Robson.
Middlesbrough causing themselves one or two problems by playing a flat back four. There's Alan Kernigan there trying to give instructions to the rest of the defensive colleagues, but United play neat 1-2 passes, almost the wall ball type of game that you see in a schoolyard, and United therefore getting through Middlesbrough's flat back four. Word of promise and a great start of the game from Jimmy Phillips, this near side of left back. I'm just a little bit worried about Curtis Fleming far side. There's been a couple of occasions when Ryan Giggs and Lee Sharp have showed him the ball, pushed it and gone.
21 minutes into the first half. Middlesbrough 0, Manchester United 0. And the ball is with Manchester United goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel, because under pressure from Paul Wilkinson, Gary Pallister has had to run about 15 yards or so in the general direction of the Stretford end, which is guarded by Peter Schmeichel, who takes a long goal kick, and again it's on the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. One bounce into the hands of Stephen Pears, despite the challenge of Ryan Giggs. But despite the numerical system announced by the public address system is wearing number 11, and Lee Sharp is wearing number 10. It's not the way that it was given out, but that is the way they are wearing the shirts this evening. It's Giggs inside towards Paul Ince. That's a poor ball from Paul Ince. Easy for Jimmy Phillips, or the man who eventually picked it up, Middlesbrough captain Alan Kernigan. Goes back towards Stephen Pears, just dribbles the ball along the edge of his penalty area to the right hand side, where there's a piece of decent ground from where he can get a decent footing and take a goal kick, which goes flat. Flicked on by Jamie Pollock, picked up by Stuart Ripley. Hasn't seen too much of the ball tonight, hasn't seen much more of it there. Neil Webb, clattering challenge, dispossesses him. That's a glorious ball from Paul Ince, down by the corner flag, deep inside Middlesbrough's half. It's Ryan Giggs. Giggs is caught late by Jimmy Phillips. And Giggs, well, causing a few problems again. Jamie Pollock just questioning the referee's decision, and the referee was right on this occasion. Jimmy Phillips went in with a sliding challenge, the ball spun loose, and Jimmy Phillips held on to Ryan Giggs. And Manchester United have a free kick halfway through this first half. It's a yard up from the goal line and 2 yards in from the near side touchline. Giggs takes it, it's an in-swinger, it's vicious, it's bounced once off Curtis Fleming and out for a corner. Although Curtis Fleming is saying that he didn't touch him, he's appealing that it is a goal kick. And we have shades of Sunderland all over again down here. Well, we all know what happened at Stamford Bridge in that match on Monday when the referee made an appalling mistake and gave a corner kick when it wasn't. He's done the same again tonight, and United have a corner with 23 minutes gone in this first half. It's an in-swinger. It's up on the edge of the 6-yard box, headed forward by Gary Pallister. Couldn't get too much of a contact on. It's worked its way out towards Neil Webb. That's a good header. It had to be from Nicky Mohan. And John Hendry's picked it up, and Middlesbrough on the break. Stuart Ripley is in yards of space. If he looks up, Bernie Slavin's free on the edge of United's penalty area. Paul Ince has come back together. The cross isn't a good one. Paul Parker clears it easily. United begin to build. That's a poor clearance. It's destined for the far side of play. One bounce, out of touch, throw to Middlesbrough, 15 yards inside their own half. We're 23.5 minutes into the first half. Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. To take up commentary, Alistair Brownlee.
Thanks, Gordon. First of all, the half-time score from the Hawthorns confirmed. West Bromwich Albion 0, Hartlepool 1. The Paul Dalton penalty after 4 minutes. Alan Murray's men having the advantage at the break. Here at Old Trafford, we're yet to get a goal. Still Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. The first leg at Ayresome Park ended scoreless. I just wonder what it'll take to beat the goalkeepers Peter Schmeichel for Manchester United and Stephen Pears for Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough throw-in midway inside the United half of the field. The Manchester United right-hand side, taken by left full-back Jimmy Phillips. Phillips tries to elude the outstretched boot of Neil Webb, who just diverts it out of play for yet another throw-in for the Boro. Throw-in taken to find Bernie Slavin, edge of the area. Slavin is tackled quite crisply, but it breaks to Stuart Ripley. Ripley, opportunity to attack Stretford end. Ripley tries to get the cross, whips it in, and Peter Schmeichel takes it to the mid-drift inside 6-yard box and tells his defence to calm down and looks to his right flank to reorganise just a little bit, because the danger of Stuart Ripley is self-evident on that move. Ripley, a few moments or so ago, had an opportunity on the right-hand side from the counter-charge after Middlesbrough broke away from a succession of United corners. The quality of the delivery wasn't all it might have been from Middlesbrough's winger, but he moved across to the left wing, and the second centre was a little bit better. Ripley now, the man we're talking about, in front of us, watching it go out of play for a throw-in for United. A shade to the right of the halfway line, our commentary position, just to the right of the halfway line, inside the Middlesbrough half of the field, defending as Brian McClare. McClare tries to feed in Paul Ince, but too much pace on the ball as Jimmy Phillips watches it go out of play, and Stephen Pears able to take the goal kick. Pears began his career, of course, here at Old Trafford, given limited opportunities. Although on one of the opportunities he was given, he did save a penalty here, but it still wasn't enough to assure a future at Old Trafford. He went to Teesside, went to the northeast, and lots of Boro supporters banked behind him, are very glad indeed that piece of business was done. Pears, goal kick to the centre circle. Head tennis, Dennis Irwin wins that one, breaks though for Nicky Mohan. Mohan a chance to move forward under pressure from Brian McClare to the far side, Middlesbrough's right-hand side. Then a long bit of a careless ball forward, and Paul Wilkinson and Bernie Slavin turn round as if to say there may be Wembley at stake, but we're not chasing that. And Peter Schmeichel has the comfortable task of collecting and ignoring even the opportunity given to him of Neil Webb to play it out. Webb, very impressive, moving back to help defence, also prompting United's forward line. There's 4 men for United now up front, a mighty array of talent indeed, but they don't get possession. There should be a foul halfway line there as Steve Bruce goes into the back of Paul Wilkinson. He claims that he plays the ball. In fact, it was Gary Pallister with a challenge there. Pallister missed timing that one, and it's going to be a free kick for Middlesbrough. The referee, John Martin, allowing the Boro physio to come on to attend to Boro's top scorer. Break in play, chance to update the scores. A very full league programme this evening.
Well, don't forget that it is a full league, literally a full league programme this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the fixtures. Middlesbrough would have been playing Barnsley last night if they hadn't been here at Old Trafford tonight. So full league programme. Without further ado, Division 1, the latest scores we have in these matches. Coventry City 0, Nottingham Forest 1, 7:45 kick-off. Liverpool 1, West Ham 0, 7:30 kick-off. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Leeds 1, 7:45 kick-off. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Sheffield United 1, again 7:45 kick-off. Division 2 to follow.
as Middlesbrough take the free kick. Alan Kernigan to Stu Tripley, to near side of play. Middlesbrough attacking Stretford end with Jimmy Phillips. Phillips coming under some pressure from Paul Ince and Paul Parker. And Paul Parker, right full back, breaking forward, tries to bring in the run of Ryan Giggs, but Giggs' linesman flag far side is raised for offside. Alan Kernigan slid in with a challenge. Referee John Martin hasn't spotted the linesman, who to his credit is still standing on the far side with the flag raised. Again, the referee hasn't looked. The linesman is still standing there. Referee not showing any alertness whatsoever. Wonder who taught him in his coaching course. Middlesbrough breaking away. Linesman's flag goes down. Stu Tripley now. Hot pursuit there on the back of Ripley from Paul Parker. And now the referee still hasn't looked at the far side, but the linesman's moved to the halfway line. As Middlesbrough have their advantage, they do have a throw-in near side of play. Their left-hand side, midway inside the Manchester United half of the field, as Middlesbrough's blue shirt attacking Stretford end. Robbie Mastup, short pass infield to Jamie Pollock. Pollock tries to get beyond the reach of full-back to Stu Tripley, but Neil Webb has it. Webb guides it to the halfway line. Alan Kernigan, Borough's captain, chips it forward. There's 4 Manchester United players around Paul Wilkinson, and Paul Ince heads the ball out of play. I wonder what on earth he was thinking about. 28 minutes gone though here at Old Trafford. Still Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. Middlesbrough's throw-in near side. Jimmy Phillips. Phillips takes the throw, looks to return pass and gets it from Bernie Slivin. Then on to Stu Tripley, but Ripley's control was lacking somewhat, and the red shirts of United now have it just outside their own penalty area, sweeping it across the full width of the field. Slide tackles going in. Referee giving United a free kick and not allowing for the conditions. Not too impressed with John Martin so far. Score update while there's a break in play.
2 changes in the First Division. Coventry City 0, Nottingham Forest 2, the score from Highfield Road, and Queen's Park Rangers have equalised at Loftus Road. QPR 1, Leeds 1. We will get round the Second Division shortly.
But the pace of the game at Old Trafford is fast, it's frantic. Near side of play, Paul Ince on the break, followed by Stu Tripley. Ince still gets in the centre. Middlesbrough clear through Jimmy Phillips inside his own penalty area. Boro could have a break on here. Bernie Slivin, midway inside Middlesbrough's half of the field. Long ball aimed towards the far side. And John Henry, but I don't think he's going to get that one. Dennis Irwin turns it all the way back to Peter Schmeichel, the blonde-haired Danish international goalkeeper, who's now reached the half-hour mark at Old Trafford, and it's still Manchester United 0, Middlesbrough 0. Rumbelows League Cup semi-final, second leg. We're still to find the first goal, and Nottingham Forest are still to await the victors of this particular hotly disputed and hotly contested, rather, semi-final. Nothing between the two teams. United possibly playing the crisper football on the attack. Brian Robson. Robson looking for Ryan Giggs. Giggs to Brian McClare. The D on the edge of the area. Swept out the far side. Shooting shot comes in. Low into Burstead from Lee Sharp. And Lee Sharp makes the most of the opportunity. He goes to his knees in front of the terrace on the far side. Stephen Pearce is beaten. A hard shot, a low shot, and Lee Sharp gives United the advantage. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 0. The crowd in the main stand standing to Lee Sharp. 30 minutes have gone. Middlesbrough's defence caught at 6s and 7s, it must be admitted. And Lee Sharp finished it hard and finished it true. And Middlesbrough, despite the promise in the early build-ups when Paul Wilkinson flashed a header just over the top of the crossbar, and now a goal down. This really will test their character. Far side, Curtis Fleming, who lost his man when Lee Sharp put in the shot there, chips it forward. Middlesbrough win a free kick given by referee John Martin midway inside the United half of the field. So I wonder if Boro are going to get an instant reply. Alan Kernigan, captain, moves forward. Jamie Pollock is there as well. Plenty of blue shirts to aim for. And the United fans singing their songs of Wembley. There's a long, long way to go yet. There's a quarter hour left of the first half. And Alan Kernigan is still to get the ball in the right position. Two-man United defensive wall. It is 40 yards out from goal, directly in line with goal. Kernigan drives the ball in, hits against defender, almost breaks for Wilkinson. Middlesbrough trying to scramble the opportunity. Far side, Curtis Fleming charging forward. Too much pace on the header down. And United relieve Middlesbrough's attacking formation there to get themselves the goal kick. And they've also now got themselves that advantage.
crisp inter-passing movement at the edge of the penalty area. Foot on the ball pass. It was crisp, it was accurate. It didn't have to be all that accurate for Lee Sharp. There was no Middlesbrough defender anywhere near him. He was allowed to stand on the edge of the penalty area, move to within about a yard or so. Really atrocious marking from the Middlesbrough right hand side of the defence. Lee Sharp was allowed time and space to pick his spot. It was an accurate shot, it was a cracking finish, but you've got to question Middlesbrough's defence on that occasion. We've got the Devil's own job to try and pull this one back round now. Manchester United, of course, on their own patch, 1 goal up. But Middlesbrough have managed to work their way behind that Manchester United defence on more than one occasion. It's quite a good match. There's nothing between the two sides at all, but United now with that decisive advantage.
Thinking back, though, that at Hillsborough, seeing Middlesbrough's FA Cup triumph this season, they were a goal down, of course, against Sheffield Wednesday and fought back. But United now tails up, attacking, chip ball forward to the edge of the area. Stephen Pears dives out and rescues it at the feet of Lee Sharp. And if ever a man had to score, I suppose, Lee Sharp, after all of the problems this evening, all of the, well, not this evening, rather this season, all the injury problems. He's a young man who had a great future last season. That future was in doubt. He's come back into the side. He's scored a goal. But Middlesbrough now, as I said straight away after Lee Sharp drilled it in on 30 minutes, need now to show their character. They need now to attack and, if possible, get back into the game as quickly as they can. It's on the halfway line. Nicky Mohan heads it forward, and all you can hear, despite the United goal, is the Middlesbrough support. Inside centre circle, knocked down to Paul Wilkinson. There's a space that's near side for Stu Tripley if he can be brought into the game. Ripley now has it. On the overlap goes Jimmy Phillips. He's ignored, then brought into it. Phillips slides down, mistimes that somewhat, and Paul Parker curves it forward. Ryan Giggs knock on. Kernigan to the interception, and Stu Tripley now has possession for Middlesbrough. 5 yards inside the United half of the field. Ripley, good pass to Robbie Mustoe. It's opening up now for Mustoe. Mustoe looking towards far side. John Henry. Henry going round one man, can't get round the second, dives to appeal for a free kick, and Ripley rectifies the situation by sliding in. Boro coming forward bravely. Midway inside the United half the field. Stu Tripley. Ripley to Henry. Henry seemed foul. Referee waving play on. Robbie Mustoe now bossing the midfield for Boro. Tries to put it into the path of Paul Wilkinson, but a lucky deflection from Steve Bruce, and it breaks to this near side. Manchester United's right hand side, probing, trying to attack. Neil Webb to the halfway line, and Ryan Giggs. Giggs inside centre circle, but clipped against the heels of Brian Robson. Dennis Irwin brought it forward to United, to the goal scorer so far this evening, Lee Sharp. And Sharp is tackled and watched by Curtis Fleming, and Fleming gets the touch. And it's a Manchester United throw-in, bound to par with the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Finds Brian McClare. This is where United work the 1-2 so well. But Boro watch that one with Alan Kernigan. Kernigan can't get the full clearance on it, but when it was knocked back in from Paul Ince, it goes out of play. Shall we give him a chance? The second division scores. There is a break quickly.
Derby County 1, Port Vale 1, Leicester City 0, Portsmouth 1, Millwall 0, Tranmere 0. And let's not forget the game of local interest in the third division. Just into the second half of the Hawthorns, West Bromwich Albion 0, Hartlepool United 1. Still that penalty from Paul Dalton after 4 minutes separating the two sides.
And inside the muddy centre circle at Old Trafford, the players getting in a tangle. Middlesbrough players are tackling each other, and Paul Ince picks up the pieces. Just ahead of him, Brian McClare and Ryan Giggs are in offside position, so he holds up the player very cleverly. Now to the far side, and Lee Sharp trying to get round Curtis Fleming, but Fleming sticking to his heels in his task well, and knocks that one out of play. Thrown for United, 5 yards up from the corner flag. Over on the far side, so it could be a long throw here. Brian McClare is moving forward. Lee Sharp assessing the option, but instead it goes back to Brian Robson. Robson knocks the ball down, gets the return pass as well, tees it up, puts it inside Middlesbrough 6-yard box where Jimmy Phillips makes awful hash of skewing the clearance, goes high in the air, and Stephen Pears comes out to show his frustration, first of all with the full-back, and secondly to make an excellent catch indeed. 10 minutes left of the first half here at Old Trafford, the Rumbelows League Cup semi-final, second leg. Radio Cleveland, Radio Newcastle bringing you the full match commentary. A vital game, but it's Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 0. Lee Sharp's goal on 30 minutes is proving very decisive and giving Manchester United a little foot, a toe we'll call it, in the door that will open to face the victors. Of course, this evening will face Nottingham Forest in the final on April the 12th at Wembley Stadium. Wembley's pitch, no doubt, will be in a far better condition than the one here at Old Trafford, which is muddy but conducive to thrilling football. United coming forward. Just over on far side, we can see Brian McClare, 30 yards out. Will he try a shot? McClare now to Brian Robson. Robson lets it ride on to Neil Webb. Webb thumps it in, misses everybody and goes out of play. And really all that needed was the merest of touches, such as the power on the cross shot. And Middlesbrough would have been 2 down. And Alan Kernaghan is now marshalling his troops and giving them instructions. But they've got to watch that, because United get the ball to the edge of the area. They then work passing movement very quickly. Balls to feet, movement all of the time. And all of a sudden, if you're just looking around, you're caught for dead. And Neil Webb there drilled in a low centre, which was inches away from a host of players and inches away of putting Middlesbrough a couple of goals down. As it is, it's still Manchester United 1. Middlesbrough 0. 9 minutes left of the first half. Referee John Martin just moving inside the Middlesbrough half the field, because United have a throw-in. Throw-in far side. Ryan Giggs picking up the possession. Middlesbrough sticking to their task. They've just got, in fact, Paul Wilkinson up front and Bernie Slavin going to join him. A lot of work for those couple of players to try and get through when the side don't even have possession. Jimmy Pollock diving in inside centre circle, but as he dives in, the ball is gone. That's not long for Ryan Giggs, but speeding off the wet surface here in Manchester. Well, Manchester's noted for rain. I suppose we should have expected the downpour here, but not quite. The rain on the surface, such as it is out there, which was poor to begin with and is deteriorating. But I remember the other semi-final in this competition was played in similar circumstances at White Hart Lane, a very, very muddy pitch, poured in torrential downpour, of course, in London. A thrilling game, and the visiting side won by 2-1. We'll look for any crumb of comfort for Middlesbrough supporters listening into this one. And Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 0. But though blue shirts coming forward, long ball towards Stuart Ripley. Ripley springs to the offside trap, but Peter Schmeichel comes to the edge of the area to stop Boro's winger in full stride and pick up possession. Ever alert is the United goalkeeper. Bounces it a couple of times inside the penalty area. Then he's going to get the maximum leverage. Gordon Cox was commenting on the distance of the kick. That one drops just outside Boro's penalty area. Alan Kernaghan knocks it forward. Stuart Ripley tries to elude Paul Ince, but Ince just got the merest of touches. And again, United's neat, intricate passing movement, but it all falls down and breaks down, rather, just in front of our commentary position here. Stuart Ripley. Ripley round 1 tackle, round 2, round 3. Great run from Ripley. Inside centre circle to John Henry. Paul Wilkinson now to the far side. Middlesbrough with a tremendous break on here. Shot coming in, inches over the top of the bar when Slavin was free. That was a fine shot. That was a hard shot, but the option, Gordon Cox, as you bring your head off your notepad, should surely have been Slavin. He was clear.
So too was Paul Wilkinson. Middlesbrough had broken very, very quickly. Stuart Ripley immediately took 3 players out of the game, skipping past them, took him up towards the halfway line. Good ball forward. Paul Wilkinson laid it off superbly. Bernie Slavin laid it out wide. Jimmy Pollock in yards of space. Slavin and Wilkinson.
As Paul Wilkinson tries to put some pressure on Gary Pallister, who stretches out the long legs and gives it back to Peter Schmeichel. It just shows that Middlesbrough are in this game. They're battling hard, but Schmeichel, another of those aerial bombardments, reaches the Middlesbrough penalty area. Appeal for handball from the travelling support against Lee Sharp, and Sharp is watched by Curtis Fleming, who just diverts the ball out of play. But Jimmy Pollock, it's fair enough to say the confidence of the young man, but we look for a bit of composure there, because Bernie Slavin was screaming for the ball inside the penalty area, inside the 6-yard box, if we're honest, and he was ignored. United on the attack. Centre comes in, half cleared. Bernie Slavin can't quite get there. Steve Bruce can for United. Still midway inside the Boro half the field, then to the edge of the area. Kernaghan mistimes the clearance. Jimmy Phillips and Stephen Pears in a tangle, and Pears dives away, and Jimmy Phillips, the last couple of opportunities for Phillips to clear the ball. We haven't seen the best from Middlesbrough's number 3. One clearance was miscued, went high in the air, and Pears to the rescue. And there must have been a lack of understanding between keeper and full back as Phillips guided out for a corner. And Middlesbrough trying to defend again. Every player, every blue shirt is inside the penalty area. As the corner comes in now, Steve Bruce stole a march. Kernaghan half cleared. It's on the D on the edge of the area. An acrobatic fall forward from Paul Ince, and the referee John Martin gives the free kick for Manchester United in a dangerous position. D, this will be directly in line with goal to the D on the edge of the area, and United have a host of players who you can pick from who could hit a set-piece situation such as this and cause one or two problems. Lee Sharp is there. We can see Brian Robson, Neil Webb and Steve Bruce. And Paul Ince just looking around a little bit. He was the man who got the free kick for the challenge. The legality of it, somewhat debatable, but Middlesbrough's defensive wall includes every one of their players, barring goalkeeper Stephen Pears and Alan Kernigan, who near side is watching Brian McClare. United's free kick, I think, is going to be taken by Brian Robson. Robson teeing up the shooting opportunity. In fact, it's drilled in by number 3, Dennis Irwin. Hits against the blue wall. And Middlesbrough clear it, or do they? Kernigan, powerful header. And the rain continues to pour down, and Middlesbrough try to pour out of their penalty area. It's lifted back forward once more. Over on the far side, Ryan Giggs. Giggs putting pressure on Borough's defence and gets a corner, much to the annoyance of the travelling support. And Middlesbrough's Curtis Fleming places the ball at the feet of referee John Martin, whose decisions have not been greeted with rapturous applause, but the referee will not change his mind. The corner for United, attacking the end of the ground, housing Middlesbrough's travelling support. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 0. United's corner comes in now. Diving headed clearance from Stu Tripley on the near post. Middlesbrough may have a break on if it's delivered forward quickly. It is, but Bernie Slaven surely won't get there. Paul Parker with the speed. And Parker a good distance of the half-back towards Peter Schmeichel. 3 minutes of the first half remaining here at Old Trafford. Rumbelows Cup, the League Cup, as it used to be called, semi-final, second leg. The first goal of the semi-final between the two teams coming on 30 minutes. Lee Sharp's shot defeating Stephen Pears. He dived away to the left-hand side, but there was too much power on it. It was hit hard and low with accuracy, but Boro have had their opportunities, the best possibly. A Paul Wilkinson header after 60 seconds. Yet another long clearance going forward. Again, Ryan Giggs getting on the end of it. Stephen Pears coming out, and then Lee Sharp pushes into the Middlesbrough goalkeeper. Clumsy from United's number 10. There was no need for that whatsoever, and John Martin has a word in the ear of Sharp as Martin then dashes towards the halfway line. And I wonder if Stephen Pears can match the distance of Schmeichel with the kicks out from goal. He can't. Drops on the halfway line. Flick on. That's going to be chased by John Hendry, pushing the ball back there towards Schmeichel. And Schmeichel half clears it. It came off the surface there, an awkward angle for Schmeichel. He concedes a throw-in when he did very well, in all honesty, the Danish international. It could so easily have been a corner. A couple of minutes left of the first half. Be crucial if Boro could get the equaliser from this throw-in. Curtis Fleming takes it long. They look like a push there, right in front of referee John Martin. He ignores it, knocks in once more. Referee gives a goal kick, and Paul Wilkinson is quite furious with the referee. And referee John Martin was no more than 5 yards away from that instant. He had a clear view. We're a good deal more distant from it. What did you see that, Gordon?
I think Paul Wilkinson slipped as he went for the ball there. The ball seemed to run away from him. I think you've got to give the benefit to the benefit of the doubt to the official on this occasion. Again, what you were saying a little bit earlier on, possibly not the best game he's ever had, but I think he was correct on this occasion. But conditions are deteriorating. Peter Schmeichel not getting so much of a distance on that kick, but he does have a reasonably strong breeze, stroke wind coming really, I suppose, from the Stretford end, which is carrying an incessant heavy drizzle.
United charging forward. Brian McClare, round 2 challenges, edge of the area, shot goes in, Pears down. And if ever there's a criticism you can level against Brian McClare, that he sometimes in goal scoring opportunities tries to be too precise. He tries to just guide it in when the power of Hughes would have been called for in that situation. We're thankful, of course, that Hughes wasn't there. He is suspended. And Stephen Pears, long clearance from goal, drops inside centre circle. Nicky Mohan back to Jimmy Phillips, and Phillips scoops out of the mud back towards the Middlesbrough goalkeeper. Yes, that rain that is driving down, we can see through the floodlights, is giving some assistance to Manchester United in the first half, so it'll be interesting to see what distance Stephen Pears gets on the clearances in second half. But Middlesbrough coming forward, still attacking Stretford end, still a goal down. Jimmy Phillips to Stu Tripley. Ripley tackled by Paul Parker in front of the linesman, who saw nothing wrong with the challenge. And Parker to Neil Webb. Now across the width of the back four, Brian Robson, long ball forward. Nicky Mohan standing up and able to surely give this one towards the Boro goalkeeper Pears. And Pears just moving out towards the edge of the area as a couple of the Middlesbrough supporters, quite a few of the Boro supporters behind Stephen Pears' goal stand up. Possibly they're thinking about popping down for a warming drink at half time. It's certainly cold, it's wet, it's miserable. It's cup football that's been of a high quality and good excitement in the first half. We're now into injury time at the end of it. John Martin checking with the watch. A couple of players now will change the shirts at half-time. Middlesbrough might do that to try and change the luck, because it's still Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 0. The league game that we're keeping our eye on at the Hawthorns, still West Bromwich Albion 0, Hartlepool 1. United defending, Stu Tripley putting pressure on, but Gary Pallister guiding that one back to Peter Schmeichel. And Paul Parker gives his keeper the option, this near side, but surely it's going to be another one of those long kicks out from Schmeichel. Disappointing me, he drops it just 5 yards inside the Middlesbrough half the field this time. Alan Kernigan forward, looking for Paul Wilkinson. Bernie Slevin on the halfway line. United are retaining the other possession inside centre circle. Brian Robson charges forward. Kernigan first to it, tried to bring in John Henry over on the far side. Henry was fouled. John Martin gives Middlesbrough the decision. One of a limited number the official has given Middlesbrough in the first half, greeted with ecstatic applause by 9,000 travelling support. Boris free kick, 5 yards inside their own half the field. Alan Kernigan, Paul Wilkinson flick on. Stu Tripley chases edge of the area. Wilkinson knocks it back in once more. Manchester United clear. Paul Ince to centre circle, and referee John Martin decides enough is enough. That is the end of the action here in the first half, and bringing to a close what has been a very wet Old Trafford, an exciting Old Trafford, and the home support no doubt the most delighted at the halfway stage. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 0. The goal scorer Lee Sharp after 30 minutes. It was a good goal, Gordon, but question marks about his defence on that occasion.
Yeah, Manchester United have looked the crisper side. They've looked the more professional side, I think, for want of a better expression in this first half. They look more likely, a little bit more imagination about the play. One or two little dummies. You can tell it's the voice of experience, I suppose, in Manchester United at the moment. Neil Webb is controlling things. Brian Robson, a couple of little dummies. The United are looking good. They're looking a little bit comfortable at the moment. Middlesbrough are catching United at the back purely by pace and purely by endeavour. There's not too much imagination. You get the impression that you know what's going to happen when Middlesbrough get the ball. If we know what's going to happen, I presume Manchester United do as well. They're making life a little bit easier for United at the moment, in so much that they're, I don't know what's the word, it's not lack of imagination as such. They're just finding life a little bit difficult against a very, very good side in Manchester United. Let's not forget Middlesbrough are up against the European Cup winners, cup holders, although they're out of the competition now, of course. Potential First Division champions, so it's no disgrace whatsoever. Middlesbrough just need a little bit more endeavour. One or two more breaks in and around the edge of that United penalty area. Could still be all to play for.
Yes, all to play for, but the half-time score here at Old Trafford is Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 0, goal scorer Lee Sharp. After 30 minutes, there is the full second half commentary to come, of course, and we will keep you up to date as developments occur at the Hawthorns, where the score there at the half-time